Hello everyone, NZ5 here with a follow-up to my last video, the free-to-play farming strats video, where I wanted to originally go over the beacon farm strategy, but that video got a little long and this one is going to be its own video. So the beacon farm strat is another popular and profitable farming strat that doesn't require any loot pets. However, it's really only good once you're in Profound. That said, once you are in Profound, especially in the first few weeks of League, it's often one of the better no pet strats you can do. There's two ways to go about the farm. One of which is still very profitable, even super late in the league, such as when I'm recording this, which 2 weeks left in Overrealm League. And then the other easier way that is profitable as long as the league isn't dead yet, so like the first month-ish. Since there's a new league coming out soon, let's first go over how the normal beacon farm works so that people can use this for their league starts in Vorax coming up in just a few weeks here now. Let's go over the things that aren't obvious just from looking at a void chart in game. Right now, you could go to here and find some beacon farm trees at some point or another, but some of the things might not be obvious to you, especially if you're a newer player or something. And I'd rather teach you what is important about the void chart so you can make your own or make changes to an existing one uh, than give you just, here's a tree, follow this exact tree. And there's two reasons for that. Because first of all, any chart I link in this video, if I were to make one in game, it's going to be gone for next season. I'll probably make a new one when the season starts, but and then add it to this later. But in any case, and then the second reason there's often a lot of flex points in everybody's tree that will depend on your own circumstances and build and what you want to do, right? So like my tree here, for example, the Oasis and the Compass points, these are flex, right? So there's like 36 flex points here that you could do some other stuff with. And there's a few points that you might want to put into Commodity or Beacon here that I trim so I could do the Oasis, just because I've been running Oasis most of this league. The required points are in God of War here, and it's mainly these, and these. A lot of builds will also put some points on this side. It depends on how fast your build is and whether you're consistently hitting the max floors in the God of War mechanic. But before I show you the whole tree, let me go over the core interactions here. The main thing we're doing here is on the beacon tree. You'll notice most of these nodes, the nodes we want, are all the ones that say magic monsters have X chance to drop additional beacons, right? We're buffing magic monsters. Those are the ones that are going to drop beacons the most. And the God of War mechanic, if you get these God of War followers, they are magic monsters. So, you hit the God of War statue at the beginning, you kill monsters, the number in the top left corner is the floor you're on, right? So it's or the max level. And every time it goes up by one, that means you have a chance to be attacked by a pack of God of War followers, right? Which is a bunch of magic monsters. If you take all these points, there's 22% chance right here. If if you ever use the legendary God of War compass, that adds 50% as well. We'll go over that in a little bit for some of the variants, but the 22% here is pretty good already because if you take these as well, now you have 14 floors or levels. So you're looking at about 3 times you'll get ambushed by God of War followers on average per map. And they drop a lot of beacons, and if you get really lucky, you'll even get this card here, where then they can have a chance to drop deep space beacons, which you can make good money on after the first few days of league. First few days of league, they're not worth too much yet, but they do get up there later. And those two, and actually, there's some more about those two cards also, because it's a rainbow and a legendary card you could get from that, and there's a little bit of things you'll change up if you do happen to get one of those cards. They look like this, right? And the legendary one is right there. But I'll show you my chart here. I would say on the beacon chart, you definitely want this whole row going up to here. You also want this because, again, every magic monster there's a chance for the beacon chest, but then God of War followers have the chance as well. You definitely want this node here. this node is fine. It's whatever, but you want to go all the way down to this node. I would also recommend taking this node, going all through here. I trimmed this just to get some of the Oasis compass points, but I would suggest going all the way to here. And when you do that, you also want to fill out this whole resonance wheel here all the way to the end, because the more resonance the boss drops, the more of it can turn into beacons. And you want to go up here to get some more magic monsters as well, and a little bit of drop quant. So about 12 points in the commodity tree is what I would recommend early on. And about 30-ish points in the beacon tree. You could take these two and just go connect here. As for your flex points, that's going to depend on your personal preference. You may not like Oasis. I happen to have the pet for Oasis, so that's partially why I do it. You could do a lot of things. In the first week of the league, I might even recommend, even though you're in Profound, if it's like the first 5 days, you might even combine it with Black Sail still, because memories and everything are still pretty good money the first week. You might combine it with Dream. If the Dream compasses are cheap, you could just take like this whole top half. I would skip these 4 points here on the side. This one's not really necessary. This one's quite good. It doesn't read very well, but this monster has a really high chance to drop Dream Talkings, which are worth a lot of money. Alternatively, you could do something like Mist Veil and just farm the Mist Veil eyes and, activation mediums. You could do Frozen Canvas, similar thing, farm paper and magnificent support skills. It depends on, you do Eterna, you can farm the reverberations to sell for people. You got a lot of options here of what you can do with those extra points. It's really going to depend on your preferences, what your build is good at, etc. For the profound talent points, there's 4 options really. One is this one here. Since we're not generally speaking, we're not using a legendary compass, and then if you do take this one, you take this node as well, right? This is a big one. If you don't have that node, then you do not take this, and you can trim these. In fact, this tree I wasn't really running this. I need to fix that. I had that other profound talent selected originally. If you have 50 cards in your confusion card library, you can take this, 10%. Or if you are an immortal build that never dies in a map, you can take this. The problem is, even though I was pretty tanky, I still die very occasionally, and it's really annoying when you finally get that rainbow God of War confusion card or something, and then you just randomly die to something and you kind of waste the map. So I didn't really like this one as much. Some combination of these 4 is going to be the best options. I like this one a lot, except in the first week of the league, I probably wouldn't do this one. I'd probably do, you know, one of these or both of these and this one, some combination of these 3. The reason being is in the first week of the league, your profit's coming from regular beacons more than deep space beacons, so you don't really need to chase the God of War confusion cards as much. So it's not quite as important. So I'd probably do this and this and just kind of run like that. Yep. That's the basics of the tree. Let's go over the compasses that you're going to use. So for the most part, you are going to want to, assuming you can handle, if your build's strong enough, this is the full everything you're going to use. You're going to use a beacon probe. You're going to use both of the veteran compasses, the purple and the normal one, and you're going to use the beacon compass and a God of War compass, regular God of War compass, right? That's 1, 2, 3, 4, and a probe. Now, if you happen to get the rainbow or legendary God of War confusion card that we were talking about, right? If you get this one or this one, right, where the God of War followers have a chance to drop deep space beacons, assuming your build can handle it, which if you've just recently got into Profound, it might be pretty tough, but you really want to run the legendary War Compass at that point, because this one gives a 50% chance to be attacked by God of War followers on top of the 22% from the trees. So now we're at 72%, which is going to give you, like if you've got the 14, the +4 max levels, so you got 14 levels. Now you're looking at about 10, 10-ish, 11-ish God of War followers ambushing you. Now the problem though is it gives 400% additional max life for magic monsters and 70% additional max life to all monsters. So this, if you're just got into Profound kind of recently, or you're like just hitting a trillion-ish damage or something, this can still be kind of rough. You may have to drop some or all of the other compasses and beacons to be able to run it, but when it comes to those two confusion cards, this one is better than the others combined, right? It's going to give you a lot of deep space beacons. Well, that is assuming deep space beacons are over like 25 FE, right? Or very early in the league, they can be pretty cheap because nobody's in deep space even yet for the first day or two. Very few people, and there's a lot more supply versus demand. So their price is actually very, very low for the initially in the league, but they rise quickly. So assuming deep space beacons are like over 25-ish FE, then this one becomes better than almost all the others combined. You'll have to play it out a little bit, but if we're talking after week 1 or so, and they're solidly at a high price and everything, and if your build can handle it, all those things, this becomes an amazing compass to do with those cards. So that's kind of the exception there, which is also one of the reasons once you get to that point why I might change the Profound talent around, where if you're starting to chase after those cards more, whatever, and you actually are using a legendary compass every so often, well, then this node becomes a little not quite as good anymore, right? Okay, well, so now that we've gone over the basics of the typical beacon farm, let me just tell you about a little bit of a variant that can be quite profitable even late in the league, or potentially even in tier T8, time mark 8. Though I've not personally tested this, it's just kind of my gut instinct. I believe it might be decent. It requires that you've saved up a lot of rerolls already, and what you're doing is you're using those rerolls right here to aggressively target those cards, right? To target these two. Now, when I say aggressively, I don't mean you're rerolling until you find one of them. There's other stuff you'll run in the meantime. If you hit other rainbow cards, you're going to run them. A lot of them are good cards to run in general, but also anytime you get a 1 or 2 attempt card, that's what these icons down here mean. It means you only have to run, like this one here. This isn't the best one ever, but I only have to run 2 beacons, and then this clears, and it's like I get a free reroll, right? So you'll run all the 1 and 2 attempt ones, and then there's still some good 4 attempt ones that you'll run. If you get like 30% fuel quantity or 30% drop quantity, those are solid. I like those. I'll run those. Um, Getting down into the blue 20% ones is kind of borderline. Most of the time, I don't like to. Uh, just depends how I feel. If I just spent 15 rerolls and haven't seen anything good, I might get frustrated and just run it. Whatever. But if you've got the rerolls to do it, so this could be a thing where maybe you're not doing the beacon farm normally, you're doing some other thing, and you've been doing it for a while, and you suddenly you look down, you've got 80 rerolls. You're like, oh, well, this is kind of a way to turn those rerolls into profit, right? You could swap to the beacon tree and everything and reroll for those specific cards, um, and try to get a bunch of deep space beacons and sell them all off, right? And then once you get low on rerolls, go back to whatever else you were doing. I even did that in Overrealm here, like about a week or so ago. So, 3 weeks left in the league, and it was still quite profitable. Even though deep space beacons were like down to like 20 FE or something now, like they've been falling. It was still pretty good though. So that'll wrap up the overview for the beacon farm and some of the alternative options you have available depending on your personal circumstances, such as your build power and the economy. I hope you found it helpful, and if you did, please consider dropping a like, a sub, or posting your feedback in the comments below. Anything helps as I'm trying to grow this channel. Thanks for watching. I'm NZ5 on Twitch and YouTube, and I hope you drop an attorney. No, not them, just you. Goodbye.
Just ring his name, he doesn't even think. Hey. Every map he touches turns to gold. Enemies fall and drop their crown. He's the one that never drowns.